is ABC.
The Oakland Alameda County Coliseum, December 21, 1974, the way it was. Oakland has just kicked off to Miami. 89, Nat Moore swinging to his left. Down the left sideline, he's got open space. The speedster, the fastest man by far on the Miami team, goes untouched. 89 yards, touchdown. Quickly, Miami leads by a score of 7-0. But Oakland, a powerhouse, high-scoring team with the pinpoint precision passing of Kenny Stabler, strikes back in the second quarter. Stabler to Charlie Smith. The score tied at 7-7. Moving ahead to the third quarter. And with Miami leading 10-7, Stabler strikes again in the corner to Biletnikoff, 25. Incredible catch. That made it 14-10 Oakland. But Bob Greasy was not to be denied either. Throwing long to Paul Warfield. Touchdown. Extra point blocked. And so Miami led 16-14. Once again, Stabler going to work. His favorite target, Cliff Branch, the speedster out of Colorado, has it. Apparently down. Untouched. Too late by Henry Stuckey, and Branch goes downfield. Touchdown, and so Oakland takes a 21-16 lead. The Dolphins worry to see Fernandez's face, but the Dolphins, a tremendous football team, fighting back. And now, Benny Malone, number 32, will not be denied. He burst past one tackler and another, and still another, goes in for the touchdown, and so Miami takes the lead again, 26-21. But Oakland, with Kenny Stabler hitting Biletnikoff, first for 18, then for 20 yards, famous for his 2-minute drill attack, brings the Raiders downfield, hits Frank Pitts, an incredible catch there, 5-yard gain. The clock says 35 seconds. A frantically worried John Shula. Now, almost the last play of the game, going down, Stabler waffles the ball in the air. Somehow, Clarence Davis, 28, catches it. The Oakland Raiders win 28-26. They go at it again today.
15 seconds there. Stand by all cameras, stand by videotape, stand by slow-mo. Stand by to roll videotape in 5. And roll tape. 4, 3, 2, 1. Take tape. Where two of the NFL's finest, the Oakland Raiders and Miami Dolphins, kick off their 1975 season in the Orange Bowl. And ABC's NFL Monday Night Football is brought to you by Ford Motor Company, who invites you to see all their 1976 cars at your Ford and Lincoln Mercury dealers on October 3rd.
Hello again, everyone. I'm Howard Cosell. Welcome to the official start of NFL Monday Night Football right here on ABC, and we think we've got a terrific opener for you. If it's anything like that classic playoff game of last December, the highlights of which you saw at the top of the telecast, then our hopes will certainly be fulfilled. But in the meantime, a quick look at the two coaches. Don Shula, Miami, widely regarded as the finest coach in the National Football League, and why not look at the record. But this year, what a challenge before him. The loss of Zonka, Kick, and Warfield. Then the loss by way of injuries for the season of the likes of Nick Bonacani and Dick Anderson. And the loss tonight of Manny Fernandez and Bob Hines. And everybody somehow expecting Shula to maintain the excellence of the past, which included consecutive Super Bowl victories. Well, that's Shula on the one side. The coaching opponent, John Madden, on the other. Slimmed down by a mere 40 pounds. Perhaps the most unheralded coach in the league, widely characterized as a mere puppet for, in effect, the general manager and part owner, Al Davis. But in truth, nothing of the sort. A determined leader who should get credit when the team wins and who should be criticized if he deserves it when the team loses. Thus, the two coaches. Now, for some further analysis, let's bring in the Gift, Frank Gifford, and let him talk about Miami on the offense.
Well, Howard, we mentioned some of the injuries that possibly will hurt the Miami Dolphins. They have some mighty fine football players, too. They're coming off their best preseason ever, at least in terms of rushing. Now, that seems odd because Larry Zonka is gone, but Norm Bulash, Don Nottingham, Mercury Morris, Benny Malone, they picked up the slack. But even though they're talking like they can run the football, you still get the feeling that quarterback Bob Greasy is going to have his best year, and he's going to have to throw the ball for Miami to once again win this division.
Well, that means it's time for Spanky Karras. Spanky, how would you defend Bob Greasy?
Well, Univac, I think he summed it up. They've been running the ball in the preseason because they know that they have to run the ball in order to maintain that kind of offense that they've had with Zonka. As far as the league opener is concerned, I don't know. I don't know if they can run against Oakland. Oakland knows that. They're not scared of Zonka in the middle, so I think they'll loosen up, and they're going to think that Greasy's going to throw the ball more. I think Greasy's going to have to throw the ball more, Frank.
Now, what about Oakland and Kenny Stabler?
Well, Howard, in my estimation, Kenny Stabler, well, if he isn't the best quarterback in football, he's certainly approaching it. They say you have to spend 5 years to be the top quarterback. He's really only been a starter for 2 years, and he is super. He has some great receivers. We saw them in the highlights of the playoff game, Branch and Bolitnikoff. Stabler, if you give him a little time, he will just burn the daylights out of you. He is something else.
All right, Spanky, how do you defend Kenny Stabler?
Well, how do you defend an Oakland offensive football team that's terrific? I don't know. Miami's playing with injuries. I think they'll go to a blitzing defense. That usually kind of compensates for a lack of defensive personnel, and I think they'll go strictly to a blitzing game tonight. We saw it in the preseason game where they were rushing their safeties and the little guys scatting through the line, so they may go into a real blitzing situation.
Thank you, gentlemen. Coming up, Oakland against Miami in the Orange Bowl. We'll be back in just a minute.
We as professional broadcasters.
Back there along with Mercury Morris. Kicking off for Oakland is Ray Guy, and we're underway in the Orange Bowl. It will be Mercury Morris who lets it bounce, and it bounds out of bounds. Going out of bounds. It will go back and will be kicked once again from the 30-yard line. Don Shula, an incredible record here at Miami. As Howard mentioned at the top of the show, he is going to have a tremendous job for him. He's lost a lot of players other than Zonka, Kick, and Warfield. Nick Bonacani is not there anymore. Manny Fernandez, the great safety man, Dick Anderson, out for the season. Bob Hines is out. There's John Madden. He, too, has injury problems.
Yeah, but he's slimmed down an awful lot. I don't think he's worried about his injuries. He's worried about his waistline.
I don't think he's going to get your clothing award this year, Alex.
No, he's still
looking pretty dapper, yeah. John Madden. Great record.
He looks bad in expensive clothes, that guy, though.
And a much more brilliant coach than you might suspect. He has done a great job with the Raiders, along with managing general partner Al Davis.
That's true, and a very engaging guy with a great sense of humor. All right, Giff, we're about ready to go now.
You're looking at Mercury Morris. A couple of years ago, he was definitely the deep threat for the Miami Dolphins. He's coming off a bad year, and Ray Guy rips one again. This time he puts it through the end zone. It'll be a touchback, a big kick by Ray Guy. So the Miami Dolphins will begin operation from their own 20-yard line. They will have at quarterback Bob Greasy. Bob Greasy, who has taken the Dolphins to the playoffs for 5 straight years. He's in there with setbacks Mercury Morris, number 22, and Don Nottingham, number 36. The wide receivers, Nat Moore, he's the deep threat, number 89, and Howard Twilley. Howard Twilley has caught 1 pass in preseason. Hampered by injuries, Jim Mandich is the tight end. He is the big threat, as I see it, for the Dolphins tonight. The offensive line, a veteran one, anchored by Jim Langer at center. The first play from scrimmage.
The man who molded it, of course, it's an old story, Bill Onsparger, who is now doing a superb coaching job with the Giants. And I think they still miss him down here.
First and 10 at the 13-yard line. Stabler with a lot of time. Dumps it off to Banaszak. And he has a lot of running room. Banaszak all the way down to the 5-yard line. Hit there finally by Doug Swift.
I know what Otis Sistrunk, number 60, right there on your camera saying right now. He's saying easy money. He hasn't played over 2 minutes, I don't think.
And as you can see, too, it's hot. Alex, you'd like to see Oakland play ball possession. Only about 80 degrees, 79 at kickoff, but it is humid. Showers off and on during the course of the day.
Heat is one of the things that's helped the Dolphins with their great winning record in this ballpark in the past. As you know, Frank, many teams fade about the fourth quarter again.
On second down and 3. Marv Hubbard, Bulls over the right side.
You know, you're talking about the heat situation, and when Shula got over here and start taking over the coaching reins here, he made his ball players go out 4 times a day in this kind of heat, and that really got them in good shape. And they weren't the best football team the first year he had them, but they were certainly in good shape, and they took advantage of this kind of weather down here.
There he is, Don Shula. What a great coaching record he has. The youngest ever to win 100 games. You see how much Oakland has to make to pick up the first down. It'll be third down, as you see, less than a yard.
Can you imagine practicing 4 times a day, Frank? That's what they did, you know.
No, that's cause for early retirement. 11:09 remaining in the first half. The Oakland Raiders have dominated. However, they lead by only 7. Banaszak going over from the 2-yard line. Kenny Stabler looking over the Miami defense on a third down and less than a yard. Banaszak, as he scored the touchdown, hurdles over the defense. Stopped there by Jake Scott at the 2-yard line. Pete Banaszak, 6 feet, 210, been around for 10 years. Is here, as Howard mentioned earlier, because he can do a lot of things for Oakland. Oakland continuing to grind. A big play for them in the first quarter was a fumble recovery. The fumble by Nottingham of Miami. Tony Klein was right there. 5 minutes later, they were in the end zone. Pete Banaszak scoring from 2 yards out. They lead 7-0.